This is a video documentary about the Irish War of Independence of 1919 by Daniel Lopez, Carlos Covarrubias, and Robert Carlos. What was the Irish War of Independence? The Irish War of Independence was an Anglo-Irish conflict often known as Irish War of Independence. It was a guerrilla war waged in Ireland from the years of 1919 to 1921 between the Irish Republican Army, which stands for IRA for short, and the British forces. The British Army, as well as the Quest Military Royal Irish Constabulary, RIC for short, and its primarily formations. It took place during the Irish Revolutionary Warfare between the British state and its forces. Violence was both proceeded these dates and continued afterwards for a short period of time until the war was officially declared as over. Who led Ireland into the Irish War of Independence? In the month of December of 1918, Irish held an election on who would lead them into the war against Britain. Republican Party Sinn Féin won a landslide victory in Ireland, which gave him the opportunity to lead Ireland into the war against Britain. On January 21st of 1919, they formed a breakaway government, Dáil Éireann, and declared Irish War of Independence. The war began with an unauthorized ambush by IRA, Irish Republican Army, at Soloheadburg in Ireland in the year of 1919, which declared war for Irish and Britain.
Where did the Irish War of Independence of 1919 take place? Well, Ireland was the site of Irish War of Independence in 1919. The conflict lasted for approximately 2 years, 5 months, 2 weeks, and 6 days. The war's outcome was decided in Ireland, where the Irish triumphed. Stalemate in the military for the Irish Civil War. An Anglo-Irish treaty was secured. Changes in territorial boundaries. The Irish Free State was established after the partition of Ireland. Why did the war break out in the first place? Well, on December 12th of 1919, the IRA shot and had wounded 4 RIC policemen outside of Dunglow, County Donegal, only in retaliation for the arrest of 3 volunteers. It was, however, the first IRA action in the county during the conflict. The conflict began with an IRA ambush that was not approved. They did not, however, stop the brutality when the battle had concluded.
Who was the Irish Republican Army?
Well, the Irish Republican Army was formed in 1919 during the Irish War of Independence, and was led by Michael Collins. So Michael Collins was leading the Irish War of Independence. They had the struggle. They had the lead of the struggle of independence against the British, and had reached more than 10,000 active members. That means 10,000 people were fighting during this war. The Irish Republican Army is a name used by multiple names, actually. Various paramilitary organizations in Ireland throughout the 20th and the 21st century. But like I said, there was 10,000 active members in this war fighting to win victory. How did the IRA impact the war? The IRA stands for Irish Republican Army, but it's short. Well, it impacted the war by the Irish Army did use guerrilla tactics, including ambushes, raids, and sabotages to the British government. So they were using a lot of different stuff to win this fight. So they did what they can to win this fight. The government said that whatever they can do to win this fight, he will be happy with. So they did what they did. How did the war end? Well, the war ended with a truce on July 11th, 1921. But the violence continued until mid-1922. So they really didn't stop fighting for the victory until 1922. Territorial change, partition of Ireland's creation of Irish Free State. The war resulted in Ireland being victorious, with Ireland's military stalemate, Anglo-Irish Treaty ensuring the Irish Civil War. So, like I said, there was still violence until mid-1922. But they did end off with a truce. However, they still prevented violence against Ireland. They still provided offense against Ireland. They still didn't stop fighting for what they wanted. Yeah.
In conclusion, the Irish War of Independence was a 2-year long-lasting war between Ireland and Britain. Ireland went to war with Britain because they wanted to become a free state underneath their own laws and rules provided by the people of Ireland, instead of being under the ruling and rules of Britain. The Irish War of Independence ended with a truce treaty on 11th of July, but however, the violence continued for one more year after the war was declared, in quotations, over. So basically the war technically ended in 1922. The war ended up resulting Ireland being victorious, with Ireland becoming the free state, becoming their people with free rules, their own law.